Testing. Testing.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Conn.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And we are Lady Parts TV. And we are thrilled to be bringing you another conversation with another fabulous actress way, way, way from far away.
Far away to faraway land.
And her name is Zoe Ventoura.
Oh, and you're going to love
Absolutely.
her. She is the loveliest, loveliest woman.
Now, let's see. Where do you know her from? Her biggest things were Packed to the Rafters, where she played Melissa.
Which we adored.
And that character was very beloved by many. She most recently played Alex on Home and Away, being part of the now iconic, fan-loved lesbian couple Willex.
You know how I feel about squish names.
And this is why we appreciate she's doing it anyway. And coming up, she is in another movie playing a lesbian called More Beautiful for Having Been Broken by filmmaker
Nicole Conn, one of our great, iconic lesbian filmmakers.
And she's been on many, many other things, and she's going
other things. And
she's going to be on many other things, and she's going to have a brilliant career because she's a wonderful actress and a wonderful human being.
Yes, her character is McKenzie.
In the movie, yes.
Yes, and
we had lots to talk about.
We did. We just talked about this, that, and the other. It was very easygoing, and I'm just really over the moon about her.
So, let's just jump right in. Join us for a conversation with Zoe Ventoura. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for getting up so early. I'm sorry about the time difference.
You couldn't do anything about
exactly.
it. It's just the way it is. On the other side of the world.
It's true.
Thank you for first of all, for making time for us. We know that you have a newborn, so we really don't take it for granted.
I do. Thank you. Yeah. No, it's just, that's why we're doing it at this time, because I know I can put him down. I've got a couple of hours and I don't have to worry about him getting up or having to go feed or anything. So this is perfect. So yes, thank you for getting up when I know you're not early morning people.
Some people are. I'm not.
I'm not. I totally understand, because I am.
These days you're probably all night person.
But you have to get up with, for early calls and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely, but as soon as I'm not working, I just flip back to night hours. I think it's because I started out in theater, and my body just got so used to being up so late and sleeping, more during the day. I just think my body never quite recovered.
But anyway, we also really appreciate that you said yes to our request for an interview, because we know that you're very private. You don't like to do these things. So why did you choose us?
No, because, you're friends of Nicole, and it's important to talk about this film, and I love what you guys do. You are so wonderfully supportive of women in film and television, and I was really excited to talk to you guys, so it was a no-brainer.
Well, I'm very excited. That's certainly mutual here.
You and your Rafter friends kind of saved our lives.
We had a very bad last year, a very bad January and February. I had the flu. I had to go to the hospital. Then she caught the flu. We had a dying cat who ultimately did die. My precious baby.
That all happened in the span of a week. And then the flu lasted for 6 weeks. But I had in one night I had to take her to the ER and my cat to the cat ER.
Oh, you're kidding!
It was
awful.
It was terrible.
So we were just for about 6 weeks. Not only were we sick, but we didn't want to. We were grieving. We found Packed to the Rafters, and we binged
our brains out.
How did you even find it? I don't even know how you would find it over there.
Well, we had watched Wanted, and we had never seen Rebecca, which surprised us because she was fabulous and we loved her.
Yeah, she's incredible.
And we kind of fell in love with her, and we said, well, let's see what else she's done. Oh. And then we found Packed to the Rafters, and we said, well, this looks delicious. We're very, very how do you say it? Aussie
Aussie
file?
file.
Yeah, we're Aussie files.
Oh, good.
So, I've always been a big fan of Australian.
Well, I grew up on Home and Away, actually.
Well, I was a big Peter Weir
Really?
fan when I was young.
Yeah,
And
they don't have it here, but I grew up in Israel, and so and we had one channel, and then we got another channel that started broadcasting after 7 p.m. That was when I was a little girl. Now they have everything, but
Wow.
so every night at 7 o'clock, you know we belong. I mean,
You know, the theme song is still the same 30 years later.
I was actually the other day. I told Mimi, let's play the theme, because in America the soaps change and evolve and stuff.
every 20 years or so, they change their theme song. They don't really evolve that quickly.
I said, let's see what their theme song is now, and I was like, well, it's exactly the same.
The same, exactly the same.
It was very comforting.
How did we find it?
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad.
Well, anyway, we did find it. Liron has her ways.
No, it's on Hulu.
Hulu. Oh, it's on Hulu.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So,
interesting.
Everybody who's watching this interview should know it's on Hulu. You can, well, what was it, 2 seasons that you were on? 2 and a
I was on
half?
3.
Three.
Yeah, 3.
Not nearly enough. Not nearly
Oh,
enough.
Guys,
Now,
thank you.
we hear that when they killed Melissa, that
Yes.
there was a national day of mourning in Australia.
Listen, I don't think so. I mean, I think that's exaggerating a little bit. It was in the papers and everything, and there was columns about, if you're in mourning and you can call these support lines or maybe to somebody. Yes, it was so full on, and it was just really overwhelming because it was completely unexpected. So it was much bigger than any of us thought it would be.
Well, what do you think it was about? I mean, obviously Melissa really resonated with people. What do you think? I mean,
I actually think it was the show. The show really hit. I don't know what it was. It was just at that exact time. That exact show was what everybody wanted or needed, and it just struck a chord.
Did they all have the flu?
No. Oh, I think actually it was about the time where adults were moving back in to their parents' homes because housing prices were going up, and it was completely it was very, very expensive to live out by your own. So people were leaving high school, leaving college, and then moving back in. And so I think it was just timely that the TV show came up. It was about the Rafter kids coming back and moving home and everybody living together and stuff. And it was beautifully written and it was beautifully cast. And I was just lucky enough to be part of it, really.
Part of the zeitgeist at the time.
Well, it's family. It made us feel. I mean, when we were watching it, it made us feel like, okay, this is our our friends. We're gonna visit with our friends now, and they were always so fun to be around. And
that's awesome. That's awesome that it can make you guys feel like that's so far away. You make these shows, and particularly in Australia, you don't really think that. I don't know. I mean, now it's different because it's so global, the industry and streaming and on the internet and everything. But at the time, we're just making a little show in Sydney. So
anyway, we do love Australian television.
We do. Good. Well, that's great. I love it.
So talking about the real world a little bit, how are you guys passing all of this mad pandemic social distancing?
Surrealness.
It's nuts. To be honest, quarantine, lockdown, isolation life isn't that different from having a new baby anyway. You kind of are home 24/7 anyway. We just wash our hands a lot more now, but it's not looking that different.
She just coughed for symbolism.
I just coughed. It's just psychological.
I think it is. I've there's been several times where I've gone, oh my God, is that a sore throat? I'm really hot. Is it a fever? No, it's just hot.
I know. I mean, it's truly, it messes with your mind.
Totally. I went for a walk the other day and there were quite a lot of people out, and I didn't cross anybody. I didn't speak to any, but it just felt like, people.
I know.
Stay away.
Danger everywhere.
Especially with the baby in the house.
It can jump on you from, I know. It's scary.
Yeah.
But you've been able to self-isolate and...
Yeah, just social distancing and really just staying home as much as possible. You know, I send the husband out for the groceries, and we get out for walks, you know, once or twice a day because it's been beautiful weather. And you can get out for some exercise. But other than that, we've been pretty much housebound.
Yeah.
But again, like with a baby,
I was just going to.
It's actually lovely. I mean, not lovely.
No, a lot of people
you-
are saying that. We've been
you
watching
take
a lot
him-
of Broadway stars doing free shows all over the internet. And
Yeah.
they're also happy to be able to be with their children.
Well, it does do something to people's priorities all of a sudden. They realize what they've been missing out on.
Absolutely, I agree. And yeah, it's been such a gift to be able to just be home and be with him, and my husband is home, and we can all be here together and spend this really precious time together when, you know, he's really little and we won't get this time again. So it's
good.
Yeah.
Were you supposed to be working on something right now? And did things get delayed?
I wasn't. My husband's been working overseas. Actually, he was in Ireland. Happened to be on a hiatus. No, he had a break, and came home for a few weeks, and then we're all going to go back over together. And then this all happened. So his production's now on hiatus. So he was meant to be working. We were meant to be going over, but now we're here. So it's kind of a blessing, and you know, in a you know, if you're going to take the positive from it.
Well, you might as well.
Well, I mean, we were going to ask you this in the end, but are you binging a lot? Are you binge watching a lot this quarantine?
Kind of not, because we're kind of looking after the baby all the time. Do you know what I mean? And so so there's kind of not much binging going on, but we have been watching 2 shows. One is called Stateless, which is an Australian.
Did it start already? Isn't it the Kate Blanchett show?
Yes. Have you seen it?
No, but we're going to by hook or by crook.
By the end of today, I'll have it.
I'm going to love it. It is so good. It is unbelievable television. It's
I can't
very
wait.
good.
Lucky you.
Yeah. It's really good. So I think we're about 3 or 4 eps into that. And then for something like, because it's quite heavy, obviously, and in this time, it's like, oh God, I need something light. And my husband knew about it. I didn't know about it. There's a show called Jean-Claude Van Johnson. Have you heard of it?
No. Sounds funny.
Can I tell you? It's Jean-Claude Van Damme playing himself as if he's a secret agent, and it's so funny. It's really, really funny, and they're only half-hour eps. I think they only did 1 series, but we're really into that. It's
good.
I didn't even know he was still around.
Well, it's a couple of years old.
Still
only like 2 years old or something, but yeah, it's really funny. So if you check it out, let me know what you think.
The dichotomy between Stateless and that.
Yes.
Well,
yes, totally.
Well, let's talk about
what we did binge on the other day, and Mimi doesn't like to do it that way, but we didn't have much.
No, I hate to do it, but I really enjoyed it anyway.
We binged on Willex, which she also hates. She hates squish names.
Oh.
She hates the idea of squish names.
I mean, to have a soap opera magazine and hate squish names.
I know.
Complete dichotomy.
Yes.
And I hate watching just the scenes of like a couple.
Yes.
But it worked for us.
They were talking about, I don't even remember, about another character. Well, now I want to know what happened to that character. I have to watch that scene too. Well, we have to be judicious. We don't have enough time.
Oh my gosh, you watched all our scenes
we watched
together?
all squished together.
Your whole relationship in about an hour.
3
hours.
You're absolute saints.
Well, we really enjoyed it, actually.
Well, we did enjoy them, and we had to prepare, right?
Yes, and actually, we heard so much about it because fans wrote to us because we had heard about it, but I knew Mimi didn't like to watch things that way, and since we weren't watching Home and Away, I thought, all right, well, I'll wait on that. But people were really asking, have you been watching it? You should watch it, and especially when we started talking about More Beautiful, Broken, and talking about you, and people were like, come on, you gotta watch this. So we're really happy that we did because it first of all, it's an iconic soap and it's not something they do every day, so it was important in the history of our culture, but also because it was really beautifully done, as with soaps, they kind of fucked it up in the end a little bit, but we'll get to that. Yeah. So, first of all, just backtracking a little bit, because we were going to talk to you about the fan reaction. But
Yeah.
we wanted to know about Melissa, because the fan reaction was so huge. And I don't know if you discovered that the fan reaction was so huge after the fact, after the character was dead, and the reaction to that. But you were the one who chose to leave Back to the Rafters pretty early on. They went on for another, 3 seasons after that, or 2 seasons?
Yeah, they did. Well, in Australia, our drama series contracts go for 3 years. So we were all our contracts. So it was, we were offered the next couple of series, but we were all, able to choose whether we were going to stay or whether we were going to go. And for me, it just felt like the right time. I don't know. It just felt, I was ready to go and try other things. And it wasn't that I was unhappy or anything like that. I absolutely loved my time on the show, and everyone really felt like family. They still do to this day.
That's good.
100%. And it just really felt like the right time to go. But and I've never regretted it or anything, because the next show that I got was a show called Wild Boys, and that was the one that I met my husband on.
Oh, okay.
Well, there you have it. You see, fate. Perfect.
Yeah, so it all worked out in the end.
The butterfly effect.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
choice leads to something else, and there it goes.
Exactly.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Well, how was the fan reaction different? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that you got a huge fan response for the story on Home and Away.
Yeah. Yes. It's been really full on, but in a really wonderful way. We went into this storyline for the LGBT community to hopefully contribute to more diversity on our screens, and in the hope that, I think that the reaction was so full on because there is such little representation, particularly on mainstream commercial TV in Australia, for sure. So, I certainly signed on in the hope that one day it's not that special, and that one day it's just like one of many storylines, with same-sex partnerships, healthy relationships playing out just like every other,
heterosexual relationship. Yeah,
exactly. So I think it was, I think that the response has been incredible because, people were starving for some kind of healthy representation, to see themselves on screen, and we certainly tried our best to do that. We didn't want to make it, gratuitous or salacious or anything like that. Just a beautiful love story, treated like any other relationship in Summer Bay, and we kind of hoped that we did that.
And when you say we, do you mean you and Sarah, your co-partner, or do you mean the production in general, or?
The production in general, because my initial meetings were with Lucy, our producer, and Louise, the head script writer, and it was about how they wanted to do this storyline, with a lot of respect and a lot of heart and a lot of love, and we were all kind of on the same page with that. And then as we went through the shoot, Sarah and I, Sarah, who plays Willow, Sarah Roberts, beautiful actress, beautiful woman, really worked hard to make sure that that it was as real and as truthful and as loving and real as we could make it.
It felt real, and you all had lovely chemistry. And we're seeing a lot more in the United States of same-sex couples just being, which is something that everyone always wants. They don't want it to be a special, again, they don't want everything to end in tears or death. They don't want it to be sensationalized, a parent not approving. I thought the way they handled the coming outs and things were really, really good, and the general supportiveness of it all was very lovely.
Willow's family. I mean, you know, her friend family.
And it's really, you know, we're starting that here, so it was really lovely to see it the way they did it in Home and Away. It felt very organic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. That's what was our hope, and obviously that's not due to me. That's we had really lovely writers working really hard to make that happen, and certainly as the scripts were coming in and I was reading them, I was really pleased with the way, that, you know, as the relationship became more public and people's reactions, and there were some really lovely scenes with some, you know, characters who have been in the show for 20, 30 years, and it was there's some really lovely stuff in there. So I was hoping that the audience would really come on board as well.
And you came back from LA to Australia for this role, right?
Yes. Yeah, kind of. It's it's complicated. My husband and I are both actors, and we kind of work everywhere. But yes, this role came up at exactly the right time. It was exactly the right role at exactly the right time for me to come home for a little while. So we our LA flat is in storage at the moment while we base ourselves here for a little while.
And what? So if you went back to Australia for it, and you say it was the right role and the right time, what felt so right about it?
Oh gosh, I don't know. They sent through the character brief and a couple of scripts, and I don't know. I just immediately connected with the way Alex was written, and I loved that she was a doctor. I'd kind of always wanted to give that a go, to play a doctor. I'd never had a chance to do that, so I was like, oh, this is my chance. And I loved that, and the fact that she was a gay character and was involved in this really lovely storyline, this love story, that it was the first time that they'd had a same-sex love story in the show.
Wow.
I didn't realize.
So you really broke ground.
Yeah, because I think they've had, you know, kisses and stuff, and, you know, a few false starts, but I think this is the real proper, you know, long-term kind of love story, and I just really wanted to be a part of it, and it just felt like the right thing at the right time for me and for the show, and so it all kind of worked out.
The lesbian fandom must have been very
well, as you're
almost shockingly
overwhelming.
Supportive, did you say?
Yeah, I mean,
overwhelming, supportive, absolutely.
As you will find, or maybe you're already finding, lesbian fans are there for life.
For life.
You're gonna.
You will have those. It
Whatever
doesn't matter
you do,
what you do.
Wherever you
it
go,
doesn't matter.
They
You
will
do
be there.
a sunscreen commercial. If you do a serial killer show, if you do a sitcom,
well, especially
where you have
if you play
4 children, and yes, well, we're going to get
well,
right
I
to
should
that.
be so lucky. Nicole had warned me of that when we shot More Beautiful 2.5 years ago now, but she had warned me, and I'm seeing it happen now. And yeah, I mean, how incredible! I mean, that's how lovely to have that kind of support for your work, and
it's meaningful. It's meaningful it's so meaningful to these fans. That's one of the reasons that they just become so involved.
Yeah. As you said,
it becomes kind of a lifeline, you know. It's
well, that's what I was saying before, is that I mean, that's so great, you know, and that was part of doing, you know, Home and Away was trying to contribute to that and try to make it so it wasn't such a big deal, so that they're not starving for it, you know. I just can't wait till we get to the day where they're not starving for it. It's just they can pick and choose their shows, and they can see themselves
all
anywhere.
over the place. Exactly. And it is getting better over here.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And sometimes it's, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And actually one of the reasons that we're talking today is because a fan wrote to me, and your fan, Willex fan, and said that again, we have to watch this, and please, can you talk to Zoe, and can you tell her that the fans are, they love the story, and it's not okay what happened, and so we need to talk a little bit about what happened. Okay. So first of all, what I really want to know is, was it always meant to be a short-term storyline? Did you always know that there was a beginning, middle, and end, and that was it?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Always. So there's I don't know if I'm meant to be talking about this, but on Home and Away, there are generally the long-term contracts, which are about 3 years, and there are short-term contracts, which can be 3 months or 5 months or 6 months, or there's shorter contracts. And mine was always a shorter contract because I was specifically brought in. The character was specifically brought in to cover for the character Dr. Tori Morgan,
right, for pregnancy.
Yes, who's on maternity leave, and also Penny McNamee, who's a friend of mine, plays Dr. Tori Morgan. She was also actually on maternity leave. So I was really brought in to cover for her.
It works, so it's not. It works that way here too in our soaps, unless someone really catches fire and they have the ability to then devote themselves to a 2 or 3 year contract. Not everybody can. Right. Even when they come in, and I'm sure the fans would have been happy for Willex to go on and on and on and on. But it works that way in soaps pretty much, because you have to either dedicate yourself to long term. I mean, I know people who've been on soaps for 30 years, 25 years in the same role, and
that's also a grueling schedule.
It is. Soaps are really hard to do.
I'll be honest, I did finish and I was pregnant while I was shooting.
Right.
Yeah, we saw the purse is getting bigger and bigger.
The purse is getting bigger and bigger.
Standing behind a lot of desks, holding a lot of folders. And thank God the costume department, the camera department, the directors, everybody was so wonderful on that show, because they deal with that all the time. Yeah. Obviously 30 years of women getting pregnant on the show.
It worked.
So yeah, they were so wonderful. But no, that aside, that schedule, a soap schedule, I'd never done before. And it is really grueling. It is really intense. The amount of drama that they have to push out every week is unbelievable.
Yeah, so, show a day.
Yeah. And I got to the end of my contract, and I was like, I'd love to stay, but I don't think I can. Like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah. It's like boot camp.
People don't appreciate soap actors, and actually the fact that they managed to deliver that every week is quite an accomplishment for writers, for actors, for everybody. And unfortunately, they don't get enough appreciation.
Soaps get a lot of respect though in Australia. Your few soaps that you have, don't they? I mean, because here, I know when I started the magazine in '89, one of my mandates was that we're going to get some respect for this industry that is oftentimes the butt of jokes. And we managed. We were very, very aggressive about that. We called out, people, mainstream people on news reports and people who. It was hard work, but it's not the same in Australia, is it?
Well, actually. Don't quote me on this because I'm certainly no expert, but actually our soaps are, I think they're more popular in the UK than they are in Australia.
Oh, interesting.
They're popular here, but they're really popular over there. I'm not quite sure why. I don't know if it's the format or whether it's, I don't know, we're bringing the sunshine and the beaches.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
It is. And they shoot on location. It's beautiful.
It is stunning. So, and in Australia, I think I found, actually, when I first got the job and I was telling friends, actually I'm doing a few months on Home and Away, and the amount of people who were like, oh my God, I love it. I watch it every night.
Don't tell anybody.
Yes, I would never expect, and there were a little bit, hushed tones about it. It was so many people. And so I think we're closet soap lovers down here.
Yes.
Again, the reputation.
We decided to pull people out of the closet as far as watching soaps. Because, soaps are so important to people in their lives. There are some people who don't have the kind of family lives that other people have. And these people who they watch for years and years and years and years, like flies on the wall, really do become part of their family.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's the only art form that really does that. And
yeah, I agree. And I think sorry, I interrupted.
No, I had nothing more to say.
I was just going to say, and I think the cast and crews really deserve that respect, because having now worked on one, that show wouldn't exist without the passion and the drive of that cast and crew who get in there day in, day out and work so hard.
So hard.
Yeah. So I think they deserve that respect. They really do.
Well, I'm happy to hear, though, that it was always going to be a short-term story, because I think a lot of the people were feeling cheated and betrayed by the way that it ended, thinking maybe that it was that maybe they put it out there and they kind of chickened out a little bit on the story, so they decided to cut it short. And
so I saw a couple things like that on Twitter. I'm terrible at social media anyway, and then now with a baby, I'm even worse, and I feel like I'm just constantly disappointing people. But every now and then I jump on and I see some stuff, and I'd seen that some people had thought that it was maybe cut short, but it wasn't. It was always
that way. But there was a scene.
I even saw somebody blaming Nicole for taking you to shoot More Beautiful, and that's why Home and Away, that's why you left Home and Away. And so there's so many, people have so many theories, and so I'm happy to just put this all to rest and just say this was always going to be, you always knew what you were going in for. And so
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was that controversy about a scandalo about there was a scene that was
a kiss scene,
which I think we must have seen on Vimeo. It was
cut in Australia, but not in New Zealand.
No, in New Zealand.
No, it
was cut in Australia, seen in New Zealand.
And there was a lot of controversy around that, and the network claimed it was human error. Which is like the most bizarre explanation I've ever heard for something like that.
Especially for a show like that's been around forever with high professionals. And
I know.
What can you tell us?
I'm going to be really honest. I actually don't know much about it, because we weren't told anything. We'd finished filming well before all of this happened, and also, as an actor, as you know, you do your job to the best of your ability, and then that's it. And you have no control over what's edited, what comes out, if it comes out at all. There's films that you can be cut out of entirely, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So I had noticed bits and pieces were edited here and there, but then that's what always happens when you look back at stuff and you're like, oh damn it, they missed that cool line, or oh damn it, they missed whatever. There's always something. So yeah, I don't know. I was disappointed. I was really disappointed that some stuff had been cut. I don't know why. We haven't been told why, just for time, and that these things are cut all the time.
Seems a little important to cut it for time. But...
And in New Zealand, they found time for it.
Yeah. So yes, I can't speak with any authority on it, because to be honest, I'm as in the dark as everybody else.
Did you notice while you were in production, did you notice any pushback from any higher ups in the network, or did it seem like everything was going smoothly?
No, not at all. Actually, no, not at all. Actually, the higher ups were super supportive and wanted the storyline to be done again without sensationalizing anything, with as much respect as possible and all that kind of stuff. So everybody was on board, from the top to the bottom.
But are you aware, maybe as it started airing, was there any kind of negative reaction from long-term fans of the show, not lesbians, but just Home and Away fans? Was there any kind of bad reaction?
I don't know, because I was having a baby.
pretty all-consuming.
Sorry, I'm playing. No, but I didn't see any, but then again, I wouldn't, because I'm not sure if people would be reaching out to me. I don't know. People can be cruel. Maybe they would, but certainly the people who the stuff that I was seeing in relation to the storyline was also overwhelmingly positive.
Oh,
I didn't see any negative stuff, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't there.
they wouldn't have been cruel to you. It would have been
people on social media can always be cruel, which is
well,
actually what I
yes,
was going to
that's
say.
true.
That
But
social media
it would
is
have
not
been
your
they
friend
would have taken
always.
it out on the network, the show.
No, but that's what I was thinking. I was trying to find reasons as to why, because I mean, I don't know which kissing scene that was, but there was more than one kissing scene. So it seemed, so actually taking it out for time is the only thing that kind of makes sense, because otherwise, why would you leave all the rest of them in?
Yeah.
But I was wondering if, as time went on, when the story was actually airing, if the reaction that they got made them all of a sudden have a little bit of cold feet and decide to take some things out for people's comfort levels. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. That is the answer. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I would think that maybe that would happen, but I've been told that didn't happen.
Okay.
So
that's fine.
And I didn't see anything negative. So
yeah, we just bring it up because the fans are all, they
of
course, our Willex, we want to go. No.
Yeah, I know, and it's coming from a place of, I know it's coming from a place of support and love for the storyline and the characters. So
exactly.
I love it. So passionate about it that they want to know. So it's a good thing. I'm glad they're asking,
and they will.
Any chance Alex might be back sometime?
I don't know. I can't say because not that I can't say because but I can't say because the whole of the industry's in lockdown and productions are on hiatus.
Who knows what's going to happen?
And who knows? So I haven't been approached. So so far no, but stranger things have happened. Yeah.
What you're saying though is you might not say no if you were approached.
I might not say no.
I've been trying.
I love my show.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how we can get you on the Rafters reboot. An evil twin, using my soap background. An evil twin. Yes. You didn't really die. You were put in a cryogenic.
I've workshopped it. We tried every angle. We're like, could it be
witness protection program?
Yeah, they can always have you back in dream sequence. I mean, the things they do in
dream
American soaps. Yeah. We had a very beloved actress who came and went many times on a show called Guiding Light, and they had her come back once. She'd lost her memory. She drove off a bridge, and she lost her memory, and she came back as an Amish woman. Someone from an Amish community recognized her. And she came back as an Amish woman who somehow then crossed paths with her. She came back as a ghost once.
A ghost? You can come back as a ghost?
And they cloned her once.
They did not.
They did.
I mean,
yeah,
that's a step too far. Do you think?
We did all think it was a step too far, but because Kim Zimmer is such a brilliant actress, when they had the death scene of the clone, it was actually something
the clone died,
surprisingly moving. But again,
so there's something
where there's a will, Melissa, there's a way. Melissa, Zoe, there's a way. See, I'm in the Melissa head now.
It's fine. I
love Melissa.
You should pitch the clone idea.
Okay.
No, not the clone idea. Doesn't go with Rafters. Evil twin, I think is.
Evil twin would be more fun, I think.
Yeah,
so,
I think so too. Let's talk about.
Wait, but before we do, because you talked about wanting to play a doctor, and medical shows are our favorite shows.
We can watch 5 different medical shows in a row.
Yes.
They don't blend into one big medical show.
No, we just love them, and I do sometimes have trouble going. Wait, is this character, what, didn't he do this over? Oh, no, this is this one. But I sometimes feel I could perform an appendectomy on
we're
myself.
Excellent
That's how much we watch.
Excellent diagnosticians.
Fabulous diagnosticians. We can pick it in a second. If only they knew as much as we did on
the plane. Is there a doctor on board? You two would be like,
Well,
My
Well,
we're a fake doctor.
we don't play one on TV, but we watch them on TV.
close enough.
Yeah. But we were wondering, because the one thing that we always hear them complain, actors who play doctors, the one thing we always hear them complain about is having to learn
The jargon.
very, very long words and that don't mean anything to them. But what was it like playing a doctor? Give us a little bit of insight into that.
It was, and especially because my first 2 days on set were, because you shoot usually in certain locations, so you do all the scenes in the hospital, all the scenes at your house or on the beach or whatever. So my first 2 days were hospital days, and so of course I'm the head doctor suddenly, and was in every single scene. And it was this emergency situation where that guy was dying and I'm saving his life and I'm yelling out commands at people and trying to do the thing. And then, of course, we're not a real medical show, so we don't have the time that a real medical show has to shoot it. And our nurse on set, so we have a nurse who, as most shows would, to tell us what to do and go, oh, well, now you can do this and show me how to do the thing and the... Look, I can't even remember.
Consultants, yeah.
Yes. So, but she said she used to consult on a medical show here called All Saints, which is a really
we watched quite a bit of All Saints.
We
are Aussiephiles. We're not lying.
So she'd worked on All Saints, and she would say, we would have 40 minutes to shoot a scene. She said, listen, on All Saints, if we had this scene, we would have a half a day to do this. This is unbelievable that we have to do this. So it's the soap thing. So you just had to be on top of it all the time and have kind of the choreography and try not to look like an idiot, try to look like you know what you're doing and then sound like you know what you're saying. And
it's hard.
Yeah, it was really tricky. But I kind of loved it because there was a bit of adrenaline, and also when you did get through a take without messing it up, it felt like such a huge accomplishment. It was a real buzz. I was like, yes, I did it. So I really loved it. I really loved it.
Great. You seem very comfortable. I don't think I'd let you operate on me, but I'd certainly let you take my blood pressure.
Yes. I think my bedside manner was good, but yeah, in an emergency situation, I don't know. It was quite stressful.
That's great.
It was fun.
Well, I know that actually you shot More Beautiful before you did Home and Away, but it's coming out after.
Yes.
And again, it's Nicole Conn, our wonderful friend, who is
such a lovely woman
and a treasure to our community. She's so devoted to making stuff for us, and even though God knows
she doesn't make a nickel, she spends all of everything.
I mean, it's truly...
Not only does she put her heart and soul into everything, she puts her whole bank account into everything.
Yeah, she really does. Yeah. She really does. She's so passionate about it, and particularly this film.
Yes, of course, so personal.
Spoken about that, but yeah, so it was a really special one to be involved with.
How did you even get involved in it? That was exactly what it was, because I mean, Nicole is here, you're there. How did you get to meeting her and doing the movie?
Yeah. Well, I was in LA at the time, and I just got sent the script, and my manager had said the director really wants you to read the script and see if you like it, and read this character McKenzie, and
also she sought you out.
Yeah, yeah, she did, which was fantastic.
Well, when we do the interview with her next, we're going to ask her how she found, because we actually had done casting consults for her before. We would always send her, you have to cast this person or that person. We introduced.
She'd send us the script, and we would actually, because we watch so much television. I've been in I was an actress in my youth, and I've been writing in the business for a long time, and Liron is passionate, but we know a lot of people.
She emailed us and said, you're gonna love this girl, her name is Zoe, she played Melissa on this really popular show. And I was like, excuse me, we're just now binging Rafters.
Yes,
so we know
we were thrilled. Yes.
And so what did you love about this script that made you want to do it?
I just loved so many things. I loved her style of writing. I loved the story that she'd written. I loved the special needs aspect. I loved the Freddie character was so three-dimensional and beautiful. And amazing. And then to have someone like Kale play that role,
he was amazing. What an amazing
he was
actor,
divine.
too.
What a find. What a charming, beautiful boy he is.
I can't imagine anyone else playing that role. That was written for him. So, and then of course there was when McKenzie was just such a great character. I really loved her and I really resonated with her straight away off the page. But then there were the dance sequences, and I used to be a professional dancer before I was an actor. I studied dance in college, and so I presumed she'd found me because I had a dance background. But then I don't know if she's told you this story, but when I went into audition, I read with Kayla, and Nicole was there and a couple of the producers, and it was lovely, and it just went really, really well. And then at the end, one of the producers, not Nicole, but someone else said, as a joke, said, "Oh, now you're going to tell us about your extensive dance background like this." And I was, and they all kind of chuckled, and I was like, yeah, well, I used to dance professionally. Isn't that why I'm here? And they're like, what? Their jaws hit the floor.
The cherry on the cake.
Because they were going to get a body double. They were like, if the McKenzie couldn't dance, they would shoot it in a way and have a body double do the dance sequence. And I was like, well, okay. Disclaimer. I haven't danced for over 10 years, can't dance how I used to dance, and I certainly can't dance like Kayla.
Gorgeous.
But we'll get in it. Unbelievable. But I'll get in a studio and have a look, and if I'm not up to scratch, let's get a body double. Please don't think you're hurting my feelings or anything. Please, let's get a body double. But if it works, then let's do that. So that was all, I don't know, again, kind of meant to be. I
serendipitous.
Yeah.
I love it. You were so perfect that then they were going to say, and on top of this, all you can dance, right?
It was just bizarre, just the way that it came. And that was part of the reason the script I really loved as well. It was just this beautiful script with this beautiful story, and it had dance, in it, and I hadn't danced for years, and I miss it. So to be able to make a film like that and play a character like that and be able to dance, it was just a dream job. It was beautiful. It was really wonderful shoot.
Yeah.
How would you describe what the movie is about?
Oh, that's tricky. So many storylines.
It's true.
Yeah. I guess at its essence, though, it's the story of Freddie, of the special needs boy, and how he changes everybody's lives around him, I think, at its absolute core.
That's a very good crystallization of
good. Thanks.
of a big script. Yeah,
because and like we said, that
almost 2-hour movie.
That we've been talking about how we yearn for gay characters, for the part of their gay part is just part of who they are. So this is actually a story about Freddie and his mother and this new person coming into their lives. But actually, as we said also, because we do a vlog series called Lesbian Movie Club, where we talk about different lesbian movies, and we were talking about this movie, and we said that this is actually the first love story in this movie is between you and Freddie.
Yes.
And
I love that. I love that. That's what you got from it, because that's certainly how I went into it, and Nicole had wanted to, from the start, our first meetings were about, she wanted it to be about that, and then just happen, the love story just happens to happen between two women, could be a man and a woman, could be two men, doesn't matter. It's not the main, it's not the, the feature of it.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe he was also looking for someone for his mother. He knew he wasn't going to be there forever, and he found the perfect person.
I don't want to ruin it, but just the end. I mean, anyway,
I cried.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful, and you and Kayla had a beautiful chemistry. You can't manufacture chemistry.
Thank you.
You just can't. I've seen it many times where it's been tried, You can't make it up, people. It's just there or it's not there. And
Yeah.
even though they had you meet angry, that's the only thing is we never could understand why she was always so angry with you. You seemed perfectly lovely to us. You know?
Oh, so lovely. Yeah, and that stuff was fun though. That was fun to shoot. That stuff it was really great.
I bet. And what would you like for viewers to take from this movie?
Oh God. I think I guess that love and family comes in many different forms, and family can mean different things, and I don't know. There are so many themes to it, but yeah, the main one is love and family. So I just hope that people take that away. Yeah, and just to appreciate the little things, and because that Freddie character just, I mean, kind of like what we're going through now, you know, just really things it reprioritizes things in your life.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a good way to look at it. It does.
I think what comes through in this movie is really all the love that you all had put in the movie, because what really comes through is the love and just kind of the admiration that everybody had for Freddie, and of course for Nicole's son in real life, and it really comes through.
Oh, I'm really glad. That's so good to hear, because that's certainly that's how it felt in the shoot. It really felt like family really quickly, actually.
Yes, well, it was so personal to Nicole, and we knew that, and it seemed like it became very personal to everybody, and that was lovely.
Did you all get to meet Nicholas?
Yeah, several times. Nice. So yeah, so special, and just seeing him and Nicole together is really special.
It must be. We've never.
We never met him in Nicholas, real life, so but
if we ever get to LA again, but yes,
if anyone ever again,
exactly. Oh my God.
Now there are. I mean, you did this first, and then you did Home and Away. But there are a lot of straight actors who are wary of playing gay more than once. They're afraid they'll be pigeonholed, and then they wouldn't be cast for anything else, and all these absurd ideas. Obviously, you were okay with that.
I never ever thought of it like that. I mean, maybe I should have. But I don't. Yeah, thanks. I guess my brain doesn't work like that. I guess a good role is a good role, and these were both fantastic roles. I was lucky that they came my way, and the fact that they were both gay, I mean.
Yes, the love story was definitely secondary to the love story.
Well, it was so secondary.
Love story, and the family love story.
It was so secondary that they actually cut once again. And actually, for somebody who was so excited to dance in this movie, and this beautiful scene that to us was actually the pinnacle of the movie.
The blending of the dance and the love scene.
Which actually was so tastefully done, was so minimally, I mean, there was nothing exposed about it, there was nothing, and just to see, I mean, to me, the love scene was actually the dance, not so much the actual love scene. The dance itself,
dance was really beautiful.
It was so emotional, it was so beautiful, and then they go and in the mainstream...
distributors.
In the mainstream version, we should remind people that if they buy if they get the director's cut, it's still in there, which is really important to mention. But then they go and they, again, for mainstream audiences, cut it out. And this is, the second time this has happened to you now, on two very, very different platforms.
Do you think it's you?
That's what I was thinking. Like, is it me?
No, it's
that
not
bad
you.
that they're like, we're gonna cut it.
No, it was gorgeous. It was beautiful.
It's a shame. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say it's a shame, because it is. It's a beautiful, and it's just so unique. Which again is part of the reason I wanted to do it. It was such a unique way of expressing a love scene, and then the Kayla's dance with Kale.
Well, they left that in.
Right. Just a beautiful way of expressing those scenes, and I thought that was just so unique and beautiful Nicole had done. So that's a shame, but again, like having no control, you can't get attached to anything. You can't get attached to anything.
I think Nicole probably almost feels like she has no control over I mean, again, yeah, it's all such a balancing act. You have to appeal to so many different groups of people. And, but I mean, I think to us, it's just so mind-blowing that still in 2020 that is something that people find a need to take out as to not offend people, and especially again because there was nothing offensive about that scene. I mean, and that they would not hesitate to show somebody shooting somebody else, or
not in this movie.
No, not
just
in this movie.
General.
Yeah, that violence is so easily accepted.
Anything in a porn.
But two women dancing together in a love scene, that's, oh no, we can't expose people to that.
It's shocking.
It is shocking, isn't it, in 2020
yes.
that's the way, because I wasn't aware that was happening until recently. So yeah, but then there's that thing of, I'm sure I haven't spoken to Nicole about it, but I'm sure there's that thing of, well, do I want my film to be seen by a wider audience? So if they want that removed, do I just do it, or do I stay true to it and then have a smaller audience, and then I don't get my work, and that message across to as many people? I mean, it must have been really hard.
It was really hard for her.
Yeah,
but she made the choice because the movie is ultimately about all the love of Freddie and his story. She made, I think, the wise choice just to bite the bullet and go with the mainstream.
Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, particularly because I know when I first, started working with Nicole, her main goal was, she had done, these beautiful lesbian films and was quite well known in the community, but really wanted to branch out and do something more mainstream. And that was really her goal at the start. So I'm not surprised that she's gone with that in the end, because that, and she deserves to be seen by a wider audience. She's a beautiful, beautiful filmmaker.
Well, and this story is important for her to spread out more widely, but also as long as the version with the scene does exist and people do have access to it, I guess it's, that makes it a little easy.
The bite a little bit less painful.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure her fans will know exactly where to.
Oh, yes.
Everybody's making sure that we know to tell them how to get it. What to ask for. It's almost like Joe sent us. Lady Part sent us.
Cole sent.
I'm so sorry to diverge from it. Every time because obviously I did some research for this interview, and every time I saw an article with you, it all said Greek actress Zoe Ventoura. And I was like, interesting. Why do they keep mentioning that? And we're talking about diversity and ethnicity. Why do they keep mentioning that?
No. I think maybe it's just a way to a different way to describe me. I don't know. Yeah, it does.
You were born in Australia, right?
I was born in Australia. Yeah. My father's Greek, and I'm probably the least Greek person you'll ever meet. I wish I was more.
So you don't
throw plates against the wall.
I don't throw plates.
You don't use Willex on everything. Did you see my?
No, I don't. I love it.
One of my favorites.
I love that film.
We could use a little Windex right now all over the world.
Exactly.
It's so funny that, because you were born in Australia, I kept thinking, why do they keep referring to her as the Greek actress? But it's interesting because you say a way to differentiate you, as if that is the singular thing that makes you different.
Well, it's not.
I hadn't really noticed, but now that you say it, it is often in there. But I'm proud of my Greek heritage, so if
absolutely.
they want to say, sure. But
exactly.
No, but it is,
considering how little Greek I know.
As somebody who worked both here, in LA, not in New York, right? You were in LA.
No, in LA.
Yeah. So what do you? I'm sure there are differences between LA and also working in LA and Australia. What kind of differences are they from your experience?
To be honest, I found when I finally did get work in LA, that the universality of it was the thing that struck me, was that crews are essentially the same the world over. The makeup artists, are all,
they're all
like
the best.
The wardrobe girls always are like wardrobe girls, and the the camera department, everybody. And it was really comforting, because I was like, oh, well, this is familiar to me. I know how this works. I know where I fit in the scheme of things. And I found sometimes they say things a little differently, but generally it just felt like, oh, a film set is a film set is a film set, So I kind of found it was more similar than different. But in terms of the industry, I guess, obviously it's much bigger over there. It's the center of the global entertainment industry, which is really exciting to be a part of. And it's certainly quite a small industry here, as you can imagine. But then by the same token, I've worked here for, a really, really long time now. So it feels kind of quite comfortable and friendly and like family and like home here. So I don't know, they've both got, differences. But yeah, generally I found that it was just, it was kind of like, oh, we're all the same, or whether we're working, on Dan's show in the UK, or, he's been shooting in Europe a bit, and, and then whether we're in LA, and, it's all kind of, a film crew is a film crew,
So like on the artist level, we're all the same. It's just the decision makers usually.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, it's big. I mean, there's a whole massive city devoted to the industry. LA is a company town. It's so wild. Your waiter's
nuts.
Your waiter's a screenwriter. Your hairdresser is
every
also a screenwriter.
Yeah. And every Uber driver is a producer. He's, or I don't know, something. So, and when you first get there, you're like, this is so weird. And then just after a while, it just becomes normal. You're just like, oh, this is normal. And then you leave again. You're like, that's not normal.
Well, how about New York? Any chance we can poach you and you'll come to New York for a little bit?
Oh, I would love to be in New York. I did one thing in New York. I did a workshop for a play many, many years ago, maybe like 7 years ago or something. Anyway, but I did a workshop for a play, and then if that was going to get picked up and do a run, I was going to be doing that, but it never did. But that 2 weeks or something where I got to I don't know, walk up 42nd Street and just like go to the theater and do my rehearsals, and where were we rehearsing? We rehearsed at what was the studio's called? Oh my god. Anyway, it was quite a famous studio. Now I can't even think of the name.
That's okay.
But it was just going in there, and there were like auditions and rehearsals, and people like dancers warming up with their headshots and their shoes, and I don't know. I loved it.
It's magical. It really is. Magic. It is magical. That's what I went to New York to do, and I did.
Really?
Yes, I decided I wasn't going to be successful at about 39, and I had 29, and I'd done it since I was a kid, but I just had an epiphany. I said, I do not want to wake up and be one of those women who's done a workshop and an indie film and is still beating the pavement, and
totally.
Yeah, I just
and you. Oh, sorry.
No, that's all.
She will go on and on and on if you don't stop her.
Do stop me.
I love it. No, but New York, I feel like, I mean, I could be wrong, but we've always felt like New York would be much harder to be unemployed and trying to get work in just, the cost of living and the pace of the city and everything. Whereas LA, I think when you're still trying to get work and you're auditioning and stuff, it's kind of much easier, and it's cheaper, and it's more relaxed, and there are beaches, and it's a little bit
it's easier your downtime. But there are people I know from New York who go to LA, and they say there's something about being in LA that kind of drains your ambition a little bit. In New York you have to hustle, and in LA there's so much other.
But also New York keeps you real.
New York does
LA
keep you
is
real.
A very kind of a it's all about appearances. It's all very and then
not all of it, but
well,
yes.
no, but I mean a lot of it is
most of it.
And it can get very lonely in LA. New York is much more like you go out there and you're surrounded by so many people, which is
in the old days.
In the old days before social distancing.
before pandemic. Yeah.
But actually,
exactly.
this goes back to a question that I had for you before, which I didn't ask, which is because we were talking about just the how hard it is to really be an actor. It's not, people think it's glamorous and they think it's all, but it's actually it's very hard work, and it's a lot of rejection, and it's can be very soul crushing. And you said, because we were thanking you for speaking to us, even though you're very private. And I think I read somewhere that you said that your privacy actually comes from this kind of weird feeling of the difference between, your life as an actor and then the appearances of what it's like to be a celebrity. So we were hoping that you tell us a little bit more about that feeling.
Yeah, I guess just even hearing the word celebrity just makes me feel really, really uncomfortable. I without sounding like a complete wanker, I'm an actor, and that's what I do. And so I'm not a reality star or a TV
or a
person.
president.
You're an artist
or a president. I hope to be. So
you are.
That's my work, and the fact that my work is public, I feel like doesn't mean that my private life has to be public. And I appreciate that sometimes that means that people are interested, because I know I'm interested in people. When I watch their work, I'm like, oh, they do they have kids? Are they married? I don't know. So I appreciate those interests, but then by the same token, it's just always been something that I've always fought to kind of protect, to just keep it for myself and for my family and my close friends. So that's kind of, I don't know, does that answer
No,
your
I
question?
think there are a lot of actors who feel that way. The bigger you get, the harder it is. But even then, there are actors who do manage their privacy. But I can understand how you sort of have to get out there for the work, but you need to also preserve your life.
Well, but also it's kind of a psychologically important, because if you get all wrapped up in how people perceive you, or or what you mean to other people, because in their lives they make you this, this idolize you, or it can get really kind of weird and mess with your head. So trying to keep it real.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm an introvert by nature, which always sounds weird coming from an actor, but it's true. And I even, I don't know, recently, just from being on Home and Away, just the show goes out to so many countries, and I've had an uptick of followers, and I think a lot of people would be really excited. It makes me really anxious. Stresses me out, just because I think, oh God, I don't know why. It's just ridiculous.
Just relax and enjoy that. I mean, it's inevitable. The more popular the more work you do, the more popular you'll become. You're very beautiful. You're very talented. You exude a certain amount of warmth, and it's easy for people to like you. Just as long as you don't. No, I'm not really. I mean, I'm okay, but I mean, but I'm very honest. But it's easy. So people do want to know you. They want to be a part of you.
It used to be so different, when I, not that like, back in 1872, but like, doing Rafters, we shot the pilot 13 years ago, 13 years ago. And, there wasn't social media. I mean, there was Facebook, there was no Instagram. There was, I don't know if there was Twitter, but it was, if there was, it was very early days, and it certainly wasn't used like it is now in terms of actors and productions and everything online. So, it's such a different world now, and I think sometimes I struggle with it, but sometimes I love it. I love being on it and looking at everybody else's stuff. But when it comes to putting out my own stuff, I just have to, I don't know, just get over it.
They don't have.
You'll figure it out for yourself. After all, it is your life, and you can choose it.
Don't they sometimes have it in contracts now that you have to do social media?
Yeah, totally. I haven't in a drama contract, but certainly, if you're working with a brand or a company, or you're appearing at an event, or if there's a release of a film or something, it can definitely be written, and you've got to do a certain amount of posts. So it's in there, and I've heard, I haven't seen, directly, but I've heard, sometimes even they cast roles.
Yes, judged by how many followers
you have.
Exactly,
it's
which is
sick.
terrifying.
It's
crazy.
It's terrible. It's awful. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah,
it's
not like, crazy.
It's awful.
If you could only do one of the mediums, TV, film, or theater, do you know what you would pick?
Oh God.
See, I was kinder. I was going to ask, what is your favorite? Not choose one.
All right. All right. I'll go with Leroy. What's your favorite?
That's I was saying you're hardcore. You just like go for the jugular.
Well, I'm not the jugular. A little pinch on the cheek, maybe.
I see, because it'd have to be a toss up between film and TV, because I love the time you get when you're making a film to just deep dive and go into the details and get to the really good stuff. But TV, I love making TV because it's, you're generally on a show for much longer, and then that cast and crew really becomes family. And I love that sense of working with. I guess if I was going to choose, maybe TV.
No, that's fine. It's not. Nobody is writing this down.
Yes, and nobody's going to hold you to it.
Okay, but I want to do it all, just so everybody knows.
But would you do more theater?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. It's just, I guess I haven't done it for so long now, and it's such a different medium.
Yeah.
I don't feel. I think I would freak out getting back on stage, but it's incredible, and I used to love it. So I'm sure I would get back into it, but at the moment I haven't done it for a while, so it feels a little terrifying. But I would really love to do some more. I would.
Well, we heard or we read that in college you fell in love with musical theater.
I did.
Are you hiding a singing voice in there?
Not really. Not really. I wish I could say yes. I can hold a tune. I can sing, but
that's more than a lot of other actors, and they still get to be in musicals.
Right. Oh, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah. You can auto-tune everybody these days.
Exactly. No, I was never. I was always in the ensemble. With like small roles kind of thing when I was doing it back in the day. So I was always kind of bolstered by the group singing with a couple of lines here and there. So I could do that. But I certainly aren't planning on releasing an album or anything like that.
But what would be like if you had your ideal musical role? What would it be? So, assuming that you know a lot of musicals, if you love them. I do.
I always wanted to do Chicago.
My favorite.
Roxy
or Velma?
Well, when I was younger, Roxy, but now Velma.
Yes,
we love
good
Velma.
Answer. And that's actually a very nice way to describe maturity.
Yes.
I've seen the show on Broadway about 5 times, Velma. And with different casts.
On Broadway? Oh my God.
Still on Broadway. I saw the original cast, and then I've seen subsequently.
Isn't it the longest running? No, Phantom is the longest running by now, I think. But
it never gets old. It really doesn't. And then they change. They'll switch off the Roxys or the Velmas, and they'll put in a name to bring, just
bums on seats.
And the show just holds
and actually,
up.
Though, also it's such great dancing. I mean,
and
Fosse.
such great music.
Totally. I was going to say, what did you think about the film?
Oh my God. I mean,
loved the film.
Musicals actually don't always translate well to film.
No, it's hard work.
But 100%. That's why I asked, because often, they translate, they put it onto film and you're like, oh God. Yeah. But that was the first one, I think, that was like
perfection.
They nailed it.
Really.
Beginning to end, and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Jones.
And it's not even, I was going to say, sorry?
The cell block tango in the film.
It's exquisite.
It was brilliantly done, and the way they incorporated things and to work with the show, they really did it.
But I was gonna say Rob Marshall is a god, but actually he also did 9, and 9 was
9 didn't
not good. So it's kind of a combo. You have to have kind of all the right ingredients.
And they did,
and that was it.
And it won the Oscar, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I know she did.
Did
it? Catherine did. I don't remember.
The movie might have. I have to go look it up.
But yes, now we'll have to. Yeah. IMDb it. But it's definitely my favorite movie musical. Definitely. Well,
Same.
yeah.
100%. I loved it.
I can see you as a Velma.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Spend a lot more time warming up than I used to, but
now you're in self-isolation. What else have you got to do?
Get stretching.
Get warming, girl.
Cicero Lipschitz.
Yeah.
Now this is a question we like to ask because it's very open, so it can be anybody, whether actor, person in real life, whatever.
Person in real life, an actor,
I mean,
or a person in real life.
No, I mean somebody who
Out of the
inspires
business.
your professional,
outside of the
your
business.
professional life, or somebody who inspires you personally in your own life, whatever.
Who inspires you?
Who inspires
Who inspires me? The first thing that comes to my head is actually not industry related at all. I'm inspired by people who, like, particularly at the moment, but always doctors and nurses and teachers and firefighters and people who really are out there saving lives
every day.
These days, grocery store
clerks.
Cashiers.
Exactly. So, and sometimes I know what we do is important, the telling of story.
Very important.
Entertainment, particularly, I mean, even in now times, what's everybody doing? They're binging their favorite shows. They're listening to their favorite albums. They're reading all the books. It's the artists that are kind of
keeping everybody together.
Exactly. So I know it's important, but then by the same token, my agent and I always joke about, well, I'm not saving lives here, so.
But you are.
Well, you know what, though?
You are saving lives.
I assure you that
mental health.
And I assure you that Home and Away reached somebody who lives somewhere remotely, who doesn't have support in their community, in their home, and that is their lifeline, and that is their, okay, so nothing is really wrong with me. It's okay.
Yeah.
And it does save lives.
That's really, thank you. That's really beautiful. And that was, again, a reason why I signed on to do it, because in the hope of getting to someone like that.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
I've had many stories about the power of soap and soap characters in people's lives.
And entertainment in general. I mean,
yes.
Even,
Lola.
Oh.
Lolita.
Say hi.
Lolita is just a baby. Lola's only about a year and
she just looks gigantic.
And she just grew.
She's beautiful.
Well, we left because the first time we took her to the vet, they mistakenly put her down as a canine. And
we don't know.
We started finding reasons why she's actually a dog. And the other day I found her drinking from the toilet. So.
Okay.
Never
maybe
had a cat do that.
Hot dog.
Most of them can't reach it. That's her.
That's incredible.
You know who I love? I love the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Don't we all?
We're all jealous of New Zealand right now.
We all are. Believe me, we are too.
What a goddess she is. What a leader. What an amazing, amazing woman.
Yep.
Especially at the time.
Empathetic.
So empathetic.
She just does the right things, not afraid of, it seems like we're not going to get too much into politics because it's always a thorny issue, but especially at a time like this, you really see how so much of the world is led by the wrong people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And at a time like this, it can be catastrophic.
The cities and states are taking control, the provinces are all taking control of their own thing.
Seems like the best way to go at this point. But I was just touching on politics very briefly. I love American politics. I mean, I don't love what's happening in it right now.
I was going to say you love
fascinating.
I'm so interested in it. That's what I should have said. I'm very interested in it. And, it's fascinating. And God, I was disappointed when Elizabeth Warren had to drop out of that race.
Well, so many of them. I mean, we loved Kamala.
And we loved Kamala Harris. She's an amazing
And I mean,
woman.
Hillary.
We still haven't gotten over Hillary.
We'll never get over Hillary.
Because also, look what we got.
Sorry. Yeah. Actually, that 2016 election, Dan and I had been home doing for some work or something, and we were heading back to LA, and we consciously changed, like made sure our flight was, I think, the day before the election, because we're like, oh my God, we want to be there when
History.
Well, history happened. History certainly happened.
We want to be there, and oh wow, yeah. So that was, anyway.
Talk about a national day of mourning.
Exactly. We've had a national
like,
3.5 years of mourning.
And there's a quote from Hillary from before the election when she said, "I'm the one thing standing between you and the apocalypse," and it really feels like that now.
She would have been. Yeah,
wow.
she would have been
like that now. But we'll see what happens. I keep saying if this pandemic, at least if it changes some hearts and minds and leads to a different response in the polls in November, then at least
all over the world,
it wouldn't have been for naught. But
especially here.
But we'll see, because people have short memories and they're fed by fake news and things they hear. This is why, talking about the important role of the artist, I mean, sometimes that's the only way to get to people's hearts and give them the right message, because everything they hear in the news is not what they need to hear. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, there are some things they hear they need to hear.
No, I mean the news, and I'm thinking about the one network that calls itself news, and it's not really news, if you know what I'm talking about.
Anyway, moving on.
Drama or comedy? What's your preference? Because actually, you've been on a comedy. I mean, Rafters is kind of a dramedy, but you've actually been on a comedy, right? Kick.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that's going back. That was my first kind of my first lead role. Was a comedy. On a network.
But then you can also you did gritty stuff like hide and seek. So you explored it all. What's your favorite to do?
Comedy.
Really?
Like Rafters comedy or Kick comedy?
It's hard. They say the acting is easy. No.
Everything is easy.
Everything is easy.
Dying is easy. Comedy.
Dying is easy. Comedy's hard.
Comedy is hard. I mean, I love that all, obviously, and I'm just grateful to be working, but I do love, I love comedy. I love a good comedy script, and I love watching comedy, and I love, it's fun. It's a fun set to be on. It's a fun workplace to go to.
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing that stuff, I find if you're going to a heavy work, like anything, as you can imagine, if you're going to, I filmed I don't know if you guys know the Underbelly series over here. They're kind of based on the real life crime stories in Australia. And
I did one crime in Australia. It seems like you guys should be too busy battling spiders that can kill you.
It's true. I wish we were battling the spiders. No, there is crime, and they make TV shows about it, but they're quite dark and gritty, and going to those sets is
hard.
No, it's heavy, but it's amazing to do that kind of work. But yeah, I'd love to do more comedy.
Do you like to do physical comedy?
Oh, I guess Kick was a bit of physical comedy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more of I love like a single cam, those American single cam comedies are just so good. A Modern Family or a Parks and Rec or those kinds of things. I just think they're really, really clever, and those actors are very, very clever.
And at the end of the day, you go home with a smile on your face instead of a weight on your shoulder, right?
Exactly. And also, there's something to be said for me. I like the idea of putting that joy into the world and making someone laugh. I kind of really like that.
Do you do a lot of video auditions from Australia for jobs in LA when you're there?
Yeah, it's kind of you can kind of audition from anywhere now.
Yeah.
So wherever you are, you can send the tapes through, and even more now, because I don't think anybody's going.
No, it's about the only way.
Yeah, everybody's sending in tapes, so it's kind of great that you can audition from anywhere. So, I've still got some stuff coming through. When I'm back here for LA, which is really fun. That's where most of the comedies come through, actually, in terms of audition scripts, because there's not a lot of that kind of stuff here. We do a lot of kind of great sketch comedy here and stuff like that. But those great kind of single cam comedies, I don't know. I just love them.
Yeah.
And can you tell us, I mean, I don't know if you even know what's happening next or if you had something planned that was pushed, but can you tell us what's next for you? Besides
I have-
nappy time and
I-
feeding time and
No, I don't have anything lined up at the moment, because I was literally just dipping my toe back in before this all happened, and I just kind of was starting to look at a few projects and putting down a few auditions, and then bang, everything's shut down. So I guess we'll just see when it all picks back up.
What do you feel
Well,
like
it's nice
doing?
that you don't have to worry about it right now when you really need the time
To be with your, with your
to
baby
be with your
anyway.
family and your baby.
Yeah. No, it is actually, like we were saying before, it's actually been a blessing, for us just to have this beautiful time.
Mhm.
What do you feel like doing next though? What if it were up to you?
Oh God, I guess I guess a good film would be great, because I've just done some spent most of last year on TV, and also doing that soap schedule was so grueling. So it would be great to do a good film, I think.
Everybody listen.
What actor would you like to pick up the phone and say, "Hey Zoe, would you like to be on my next movie?"
Oh, any actor.
No, but it was the dream to work with. I mean, for me it would be Meryl, duh.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I mean, she's kind of everybody's standard dream. I don't know, someone like oh God, Judi Dench or Helen Mirren.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? Or Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith or Emma Thompson would be wonderful to do comedy with.
Yeah, just those ladies. I mean, they're just on another planet. So
yes, they rock my world too.
I'd certainly pick up.
Yeah. You'd pick up. That's nice. All right. Well, this is the question that we always like to end our interviews with.
If you were queen for a day, what would your first order of business be?
Queen of the world, or
queen of the world,
of the universe, whatever.
Oh, first order of business. Can I make Elizabeth Warren the president of the United States?
You certainly could.
I was going to say, so you're going to fire the entire government.
That would
but
be
I didn't
lovely.
want to be selfish and ask you to, to take your first order of business on America.
I'd like you to be queen for a day, please, then, in that case.
Yes. No, I love America, and I want to see America thrive, and I think under someone like that would be really, really wonderful.
It would be the right direction.
I mean, if you could, it's always like how I wouldn't say if you could just get one wish, and I say, well, I would have the wish would be to have 10 more wishes.
You can't do, you can't do that.
Because you have to change. Okay, so you have to put Elizabeth Warren, and then you have to change the entire Senate, and not half the Senate and half the House of Representatives.
Well, you have to assume maybe if Elizabeth got elected, then the Senate,
the people voted right for everybody else.
Yes. You hope so.
Well, thank you for using your wish on saving our asses.
Saving our asses, exactly.
So charitable of you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Well, this was delicious.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it so much.
Thank you. So did I. This is wonderful.
Thank you so much for giving us, oh my God, almost 2 hours of your time. We really appreciate that.
All right. I didn't even notice. Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to bed about this time anyway.
Well, so am I. Yeah. I see you in my dreams.
Okay.
Thank you, Zoe. Be well.
Yes, stay safe.
Thank you.
And your family. And I hope someday we can meet again.
I would absolutely love that. Thank you so much for talking to me, guys. It was really wonderful. I loved it.
Thank you for being so generous.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.